Hello everybody, so yeah, I'm Sorry. Today we're gonna make one more video today. I might have a video I put out today or tomorrow. Then thanks for 1K. Let's react. What did I just? Why can't I hear it?
Sonic franchise.
Okay, so let's react. Oh, that's why.
The Sonic franchise is full of characters that seek to protect the innocent, save the world, and accomplish any other heroic feats. Of course, with so many Sonic heroes, yes, we worded it that way on purpose.
Anyway.
Out there are just as many Sonic villains opposing them. For the most part, many of these villains have not had to endure any lasting consequences for their actions, since they start wreaking havoc again in their next appearance. Today, we are finally going to make them face the music in court. I'm Caleb with 1UP Binge, and court is now in session. Today, we're sentencing Sonic villains for their crimes. As we begin with the proceedings, let's get some things cleared up. To start off with, we are covering villains that specifically appear in the games. To narrow it down a little further, we are going to focus on villains that have played a prominent role in at least one game. We also want to remind everyone that this is being done just for fun. The scriptwriter has a bachelor's degree in theater, not in anything pertaining to law. If anyone was thinking this will sound professional, well, it's a hypothetical court session for fictional characters. That said, we take justice very seriously. The first villain put on trial to
the obvious villain, that is, seriously, every time.
Today will be the most recognizable villain in the whole.
Yeah, I know Cody, what he does all the time, that's kind of messed up. He tries to steal Chaos Emeralds all the time. He kidnaps animals. He just tortures you. He is a mass murderer to try to kill everybody in the greenhouse. And he also terrorizes every city in the whole thing.
Franchise, Dr. Eggman. If you thought Eggman has committed a ton of terrible crimes simply because he
had redeemed it a bit this time. He doesn't really redeem himself all the time, so I wouldn't say that.
The series' main villain, well, you're right. He has committed so many that we could have easily dedicated this entire video just to him alone.
Yeah.
Animal cruelty is definitely among the more remembered crimes.
Main one.
While he doesn't do this as often as he once did, it's still crazy to think he would take innocent animals and use them as a power source for his machines. The Wisps from Sonic Colors especially have fallen victim to a similar act by him. The severity of the crimes he commits have insane levels of variety as well. He has committed crimes that real-world criminals have actually committed, such as theft, kidnapping, torture, and unlawful imprisonment. However, he has also committed some crimes that threaten the entire planet. Terrorism is definitely one of them. In Adventure 2, Eggman demonstrates a fraction of the Eclipse Cannon's power by blowing up a large chunk of the moon while the world watches.
What the? No! That's too messed up.
He's also shown threatening the president that the country will cease to exist if his demands are not met. Destruction of property as well as mass murder actually kind of go hand in hand here as well. In the first Sonic adventure, Eggman breaks the Sacred Master Emerald into pieces, releasing the being known as Chaos. He then proceeds to keep making Chaos stronger, making him even more of a threat. Eventually, Chaos wreaks havoc and destroys Station Square, which likely killed many innocent people. Taking these and many other crimes he has committed into account, there's no doubt that his punishment would be fierce.
Yeah.
Professor Gerald's execution was a bit darker due to how he started out as a wonderful man. We believe it would be only fitting if Eggman, at the very least, had the same fate. No more world domination for you, Baldy McNosehair. Crimes, animal cruelty, theft.
Yeah, I'd say he gets the death penalty straight off the bat, knowing how bad he is.
Kidnapping, torture, mass murder, terrorism. Penalty, death.
Yeah. Oh, he actually kills a hero. Now, I'm not sure if this is meant to be, but I'm pretty sure killing them hero is too illegal. I mean it.
Next character to be brought in before the judge is none other than Mephiles the Dark.
Yeah.
Mephiles only ever played a notable role in one game that many people remember for
a bad reason. Yeah, he's the only new character I like in that game. And that came out. He's the only new character I like.
wrong reasons. As infamous as Sonic
Actually, Silver.
06 has been, there are two things that we have seen many people still say are good about the game. The music is one, most Sonic music is on point anyways, and of course, the villain Mephiles.
Yeah.
Mephiles takes full advantage of the screen time he is given. Let's start off with his crime of incrimination. After meeting up with Silver and Blaze, Mephiles shows Silver an image of Sonic standing in an area surrounded by
Oh, that's Silver. No, that's Silver. That's Maleficent.
This allows him to convince Silver
The villain I can't say.
that Sonic is the one responsible for destroying his world, otherwise known as the Iblis Trigger. This is all part of Mephiles' scheme to eventually have Silver kill Sonic for him, resulting in Elise crying. This would result in Iblis being released from her, allowing Mephiles to come together with Iblis to form Solaris, leading to a charge of attempted omnicide as well. If we're gonna talk about him killing others, we'll also bring up the time he personally went and killed Sonic, leading to his intended result. This also lands him a charge of psychological abuse, since he fully intended for Elise to witness this so that she would emotionally fall apart. The punishment we would give Mephiles would be similar to the games. We could seal him in a scepter like Shadow did. If that didn't work and he became Solaris, defeat him and blow out the flame, erasing him from existence entirely. As Thanos put it, no resurrections this time. Crimes.
Okay, I'm gonna guess you can put him on something close to death penalty.
Attempted omnicide, murder, abuse. Penalty, life containment, or death.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna guess.
Mephiles' other half, Iblis, is now being put on trial. This particular trial would be a little shorter simply because he gets charged with some of the same things as Mephiles, with the crimes they committed as Solaris. Iblis has also been charged with mass murder. Just take a look at Crisis City. All of that destruction is implied to be caused by Iblis, which would definitely result in countless lives being lost. This also ties into another charge he has of mass arson. He is known as the Flames of Disaster for a reason.
That makes sense for us.
All that fire, lava, and so on in the aforementioned city was caused by Iblis. All of these alone earn him a nice, hefty sentence. However, the crimes he committed in association with Mephiles make it even worse for him. Ultimately, we are giving him a fate similar to that of Mephiles.
Hey, Pokemon, I know you're the same as that, but we do not need you.
Seal him away, and if that doesn't work and he becomes Solaris again, defeat him once again. Then, blow out the flame and erase him from existence. Crimes, mass murder, mass destruction, and arson.
Wow, I see something of the Sonic villains. They always want to torture the victims.
Penalty, life containment, or
Similar.
death. Let's go forward a few years and put a much
Infinite.
more recent villain in front of the judge, Infinite. With the whole plot of Sonic Forces being a war to take back the world, Infinite is definitely getting charged with some war crimes. With such crimes comes another one that he commits in the process, such as terrorism, torture of varying kinds, and attempts of cataclysm. We aren't entirely sure what charge this next crime would fall under, but we are definitely charging him for all the times he used his illusions to cause fear in members of the Resistance, drive them crazy, and even hurt them in the physical plane as well. Some of this could probably be put under the category of malefic and abuse of power. It's also definite that many lives would have been lost during this war thanks to Infinite's efforts and his association with Eggman and his plans. It's due to this that he will, for now, be given the fate he had in Sonic Forces.
Yeah, most of these just seem to have terrorism in, I see.
It's implied that Infinite was consumed by the original Phantom Ruby. If he is simply sealed in there, it can stay that way. If he somehow gets out and continues his rampage, he will be given the death penalty. His name may be Infinite, but his life certainly wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Moving on now, the next villain to appear before the court is Black Doom. This one is a tad tricky due to how many branching story paths there are in Shadow's solo game that Black Doom appears in. For this trial, we will focus on the crimes Black Doom would have committed regardless of which path is taken. In other words, we will be looking mostly at his actions that can be found in the last story. 3 crimes he would be charged with right off the bat are mass destruction, terrorism, and attempted genocide. After snatching the 7 Chaos Emeralds from Shadow, Black Doom uses their power to activate Chaos Control and bring the Black Comet down to Earth. Almost immediately after this is done, several tendrils emerge from the comet and sink into the ground, destroying everything in their paths. This causes many structures to get destroyed, likely
Oh my gosh.
causing many deaths along with them. He ends up doing all of this because, apparently, humans are a good energy source for him and the rest of his alien race. This would increase the total deaths in his mass murder as well as be an attempt at total genocide. Thankfully, Shadow put a stop to him and the Black Comet was destroyed by the Eclipse Cannon.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is pretty close to what his sentence would be. He gets the death penalty.
I'm seeing a pattern in the Sonic villains. All of them do so bad crime, they all get the death penalty. I'm seeing a pattern.
Let's say for the moment that Black Doom survived his final battle with Shadow. We would sentence him to be
I'm just gonna call it out and say, let me guess, all of the villains will get death penalties, as most of these have already done terrorism. So. Yeah.
back to the Black Comet as it
Like, wait until you have the end.
was brought back up to space. We would then make sure he was on it as the comet was destroyed by the Eclipse Cannon. He would also watch as he, likely his entire race, and any chance he had of returning literally get blown to bits. Now it is he who is doomed. Up next in the courtroom is the genie. No, we are not talking about the one from Aladdin played by the legendary Robin Williams.
Yeah, we're not talking about the genie that yeah, they've all had murder.
Referring to a razor.
They've nearly all had murder, so.
Jinn. This particular genie has committed some more commonly known crimes, but on a grander scale. He did commit theft, but he did so by stealing the stories of the Arabian Nights in order to absorb power from them.
Why?
And there's the cases of both attempted and successful murder. Before obtaining his form for the final battle, he attempted to use Sonic as a sacrifice so that he could acquire the true power of the world rings.
That's not a genie.
Hara got in the way and sacrificed herself to save Sonic, resulting in her death. Eraser is also charged with attempted omnicide due to how he planned to be able to reshape his own world, travel to Sonic's, and do the same there.
That does not seem like a genie.
This also lands him a charge of attempted universal hegemony. We would try to come up with a suitable sentence for Eraser, but Sonic already did that for us. After Eraser's final defeat, Sonic uses his last wish to seal Eraser back into his magical lamp until the end of time. That is pretty...
Yeah, how many of the villains are just gonna be genocide?
much what we would have done, although we might have worded it as for eternity as opposed to until the end of time. Either way, Eraser Jin isn't getting back out anytime soon. Going from the first storybook game to the second, we are looking at the crimes committed by
Who's the?
Merlina. Most of Merlina's criminal behavior can be seen in the final act of the game. After obtaining this scabbard from Sonic, she uses her wizardry to open a portal to the underworld, hoping to merge it with Camelot and stop the process of death. She doesn't want the world to end. Sonic tries to talk her out of it, but to no avail. He then tries to stop the plan himself, only for her to keep knocking him back with ease, practically killing Sonic in the process and breaking Caliburn. Due to these actions, she is facing charges of attempted murder, abuse of power, and being malefic. Normally, we would have given Merlina a lot of prison time for this, but Sonic is her saving grace. After her final defeat, Sonic explains to her that everything must eventually come to an end, and that is why we must live our lives the best we can with the time we have. He shows no negativity towards her, she seems legitimately remorseful, and the actions she committed were originally done with good intention. It appears to us that she has actually reformed by the end, resulting in her being one of the only Sonic villains to do so. Not
Said, was he a Sonic villain?
To mention that anything bad she did was ultimately reversed fairly quickly, and it didn't look like they affected too many people in the process of their effects. So, believe it or not, but Merlina is actually walking back out of the courtroom with community service. Sonic was on the receiving end of most, if not all, of her crimes, was able to forgive her and not hold any sort of grudge against her, along with the factors we listed a moment ago, so she truly loved.
Why is Sonic 06 the only bad experience he has with humans?
Out. Kicking off our last three villains to be on the stand, Zavok is next inside the courtroom.
Basically the whole Sinister 6.
While most of Zavok's crimes were only attempts, he still has to answer for them. While the Extractor is a machine initially created by Eggman, Zavok took advantage of the machine's capabilities. He tried to use it to drain the world of its energy so that he and the rest of the Deadly Six could absorb said Deadly Six energy and destroy the world. All of this leads to charges of attempted genocide.
I thought it was Sinister 6.
And attempted
No, that's a different game.
destruction on a global scale. Jumping to Team Sonic Racing, Zavok also gets a charge of kidnapping, as he captured Dodon Pa as part of Eggman's plan to use another machine for evil purposes. Zavok did technically make an appearance in Sonic Forces as well, but since that was a fake and not the real deal, nothing he did in that game will be held against him. Due to his attempt to drain the world of its energy alone, however, which would ultimately destroy it as a result, Zavok will be receiving the death penalty.
Yeah, there's only one of the villains that's not deceived it.
We are going to bring in a villain from a game that was totally loved by y'all and not received poorly in any fashion whatsoever. Totally not being sarcastic here.
Yeah.
Or anything. Lyric. Lyric is a snake, which is both true literally and metaphorically. He is most certainly getting charged with both attempted mass murder as well as attempted genocide. His whole
Oh, you're talking about Sonic Beam.
aim is to completely rid the world of all organic life forms, replacing everything with metal and robotics. He is also being charged with brainwashing. After running into Lyric in Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal, Amy was subdued after Lyric put a mind control device on her. This was done with the intention of obtaining the information Amy had after she had been investigating manuscripts earlier on. This will result in Lyric also being charged with kidnapping. Combining all of this together, he is also getting the death penalty.
Yeah, I'm gonna question how many times. Also, isn't he a snake? Don't snakes, or is it something else?
It's said that he was the last of his species. We would have loved to see more of his kind in a positive light. Our final villain being
Middle Sonic. Sorry.
put on the stand today isn't.
So you're not counting the So you're not counting the end, nor counting the whole Deadly Six as a whole. Okay, Deadly Sins. Anyway,
Another one of the most recognizable, Metal Sonic. This one is also a bit difficult. After all, Metal Sonic is one of Eggman's robots, so a good chunk of his actions could be seen as a result of doing
yeah, but but the only thing is, he had the attempts.
what he was programmed to do. However, Metal Sonic has gained a bit of consciousness of his own, thinking for himself and having his own motives. So he still has some crimes he needs to be called out on. One of the most notable comes from Sonic Heroes. Metal Sonic actually succeeds in taking control of the Eggman Empire. As a result, he looks to create a robot kingdom across the world, with himself as its ruler. This earns him a charge of terrorism and attempted hegemony at the very least. He is also charged with attempted genocide since he explicitly talks about creating that robot kingdom. Since he also tried to claim that he was the real Sonic, as well as pass himself off as such, he will be charged with identity theft. If he were a living creature, we would have probably also given him the death penalty. However, since he isn't, along with it being
I know. How it all.
possible to reprogram him, that will be his fate. With people like Tails, we believe Metal Sonic could be reprogrammed to be a powerful ally. If for some reason that doesn't work, and or Metal Sonic continues his evil actions on his own accord, then we may just have to have him destroyed for good. And with that, court is adjourned. Do you think justice was served? Let us know.
For these at the moment, but there are way more that you could explain, more villains, but I guess you don't know that time. Anyway, thanks and let's end.